I want to talk about something about self love and does Islam get this better than Christianity? Because sometimes I'm getting closer to wanting to say my Shahada. I've just been thinking about this more and more and more and more. Just because I feel like spiritually, Islam is just wanting people to be the best version of themselves within and finding the beauty in who people are. And I don't know, sometimes I question because I just see a lot of things Christians do, and it doesn't make me feel like they have the true love of God within them. You know, and I'm not trying to make this all about spirituality, but um, I just keep coming back to this social experiment recently where a woman, she didn't really have a baby, but she said she needed formula for her baby. It was a social experiment. And some people might be really mad that she did the social experiment, but I think it highlighted a lot of things because when she asked the mosque, no questions asked, they were willing to give her diapers and formula. But some of the churches, like a lot of them said no, and the few that did, it didn't seem like they were super willing. And this also mirrors like a societal thing where generosity, compassion, kindness, and this giving, like these are the pillars of Islam. I know Christians say this, and it does talk about giving in the New Testament, but I don't know. Muslims just they excel at it, and something I've been feeling like for a long time, like just beyond the 7 Day Adventist unique Muslims are more Christian than Christians. I don't know. It just keeps coming. It keeps being highlighted to me a lot, a lot. And I'm like, and I keep thinking about it. Like I'm not saying I'm gonna say my Shahada yet, but yeah, I think I just think about it because about how generous Muslims are, how they just want to live in peace and harmony and building people up, and yeah, just things that I don't know that I see in them. There's just a beauty to Islam, like the generosity, kindness. And I know a lot of people they just want to think about the negative side of Islam, but a lot of us know the good side because I'm just thinking like my ancestors, they were Christians in Syria and Lebanon, but they lived in peace and harmony with Muslims for centuries. And I know modern day times people don't like to show that, but during the Ottoman Empire, Suleiman the Magnificent invited Jews to come live in the Ottoman Empire when they were being kicked out, persecuted in Spain. So, you know, having to go underground. And sometimes when people take DNA tests, they're like, oh, like, there's a little bit of Ashkenazi Jewish, which, by the way, like, I think on my mom's side of the family, like, she does have, some, like, there's a little bit that comes up. It was showing up on her brother's DNA test, but when I like would throw my mom's results into GED match, like on the J test, like it's just really high. It's like 5%. Like this is distant several generations back. But then I asked ChatGPT, I said, do I have like looking at my family tree, a Jewish ancestor, and it said there were three. Okay. On my mom's side. And yeah, so I just think about how Muslims, like actual true Muslims, like they emanate an accepted spirituality, promoting God in a giving sort of way through acts of kindness, um, wanting to create peace. And I'm not talking about like the stereotypical bad Muslims that people love to like bag on, which I don't agree with that. I've never agreed with that. Period. Because being part Middle Eastern, there's just always been like this from a young age when I told people that was part really strange. It was never like a nice response to it, really. I mean, in recent times things have changed a bit, but even in our modern era, it's not a super nice response. And I think it's beautiful to be whatever culture you're from. And yeah, I'm a little bit of many things, right? And yeah, but sometimes I just keep thinking about it. I think about it in my mind once in a while, right? So I don't know. There's just a thought. I'm not saying I'm doing that today, but late at night I just have these thoughts in my head. And I'm like, yeah, I'm starting to see it more. But it's just thoughts I have. Well, I guess this is the thing that really solidifies it for me. I just feel like with a lot of people in Christianity, like they always seem to be looking for something more. But when you look at Muslims that are just practicing Islam with a purity of heart, they don't have that vibe. That's what draws a lot of people to Islam. Like Christianity, like I'm not, if people were practicing Christianity in the way that Jesus did it in his time, that would be one thing. But just today, just a lot of like the practice of Christianity, it just seems like people are hollow in a way. But when you look at Muslims, they're not. Now I think some Christians, like some of the Seventh Day Adventists we meet locally, like they just have this kindness of heart, this purity of heart, building others up, like things that I really believe in, right? And with Muslims, like you can tell like they're spiritually whole, like they feel the love of God. They want to actually do these acts of kindness towards others because they know that these things are something that God wants. I don't know. And if you're an atheist, I'm not telling you like don't believe in God. Believe in God. I don't know. I don't really pretend to be an atheist. I never have. Like I've always believed in God. I just don't really talk about what I believe in super much because this is a long hair journey account. But I do approach my thoughts on hair from a very Middle Eastern centric perspective, and some of the teachings of Islam along here I like too, like not donating your hair and believing like your hair is part of you and it can't be donated, and like their stance on the hair extension industry, which I find all kinds of problematic and sort of human trafficking, really. In some cases, like people are like, "Oh, it's just hair extensions," but I'm like, "Did you know? Like sometimes family members force people to cut their hair to donate so the men can profit or the temples profit off people with really beautiful hair just donating it out of the kindness of their heart thinking that they're doing a spiritual deed, and a lot of people are making a lot of profit off of it. And then these women grow their hair long, and people in Western countries think that they can't grow their hair long, and they think that they have to have hair extensions, which aren't true. Like some people do have thinner hair types, but you can maximize the thickness of your hair type no matter your ethnicity through gentle hair care. You don't need to wear hair extensions. Like there's this I want this now mentality. And I don't get that with Islam. I feel like they play the long game. They're they're whole in themselves and in their faith in God. They don't have like this, ooh, I need this, I need that. I don't know. And it's just something I encounter with a lot of Christians. Like they always seem like they need something else. Like they never are complete within themselves. I don't this is just the vibe I get, And the generosity thing too. Like when it comes to food banks. Muslims just give food, no questions asked. They're not like, oh, do you live in the zip code? What is your salary? Like, gross, gross. Like, that's not what charity is supposed to be about. I don't think Jesus would have been that way, but a lot of Christian organizations that even do like food, like pantries, they are that way. Because you'll read the stories like, oh, they were asking me if I was a member of this church and did I do this and that. And then people were so hungry that they needed food, they went to a majid, which is a word for a mosque, and they just said, okay, how many adults and how many children are in the family? Here's some food. It wasn't like expensive food, but it was like beans, rice, like I guess canned meat for people that eat meat, like tuna and stuff like that. But if you didn't have money, that would be something, that would be something that could keep you fed for a week. And I just think about these things, like the differences and just the different approach to life. And and also too, I feel like when you're getting older, you want to practice being kind, being whole, being aware of who you are, and finding the beauty in yourself and others. To me, that's flip flop important. And I don't think like everybody wants to age in a healthy, graceful kind of way. I think some people want to chase things that are not real, or they just don't want to accept aging in a healthy kind of way. And I don't understand those people, but it's not for me to understand. It's just for me to live my own little quiet life, because I feel like I just don't understand like what's trendy or hip or cool, but I don't really want to either. I just kind of want to be a little introvert doing my own little thing, but admiring people that I think are more spiritually pure. I don't know. Like your actions show every day. Like, are you spiritually pure or do you lack some things? These are just things I always think every day. But everybody has their own thought process on things, and I'm not going to talk about it too much more. But it's just something that I do think about. I think about it. I'm like, what about this? What about that? You know? It's very nice and interesting. Just gonna see if I can kind of this part of my hair a little bit more fluffy, wuffy. I did use a lot of conditioner yesterday. I'm like, oh, I used a lot of it. Okay, so this is one of the reasons that I actually like cones, silicones, and conditioner is because yeah, you can put oil in your hair for sure, and I still do that. But I just feel like with cones, it just makes it easier. Comb your hair out a bit. lately, now that my hair is getting longer and longer, I find that using the wide tooth comb is a little bit better. The only thing I kind of like about the paddle brush is I feel like once you've combed out your hair a lot, like whenever I wash my hair, I always use the comb. I don't use a brush. I feel like all it does is kind of it breaks up. Like for some people, I like my hair wavy. Don't get me wrong, I do. I love wavy hair, but the thing I love about this, like the particular way that I style my hair, like if I wanted it super like wavy in its like wave family things, and I feel like this is for people that have their hair shorter, it would be better just to like comb it and let it dry that way. But the thing I like about the brush, it just kind of fluffs it up more. So like when I go to braid my hair, like it's just easier to put into a low pony, so to speak. But it's all good. It is all good. Like either way you want to do it. I will say this: I feel like as time goes on, the wide tooth comb's a little bit easier to navigate. Like it goes through the hair a little bit easier in general. I just feel like yeah. So I do find as my hair is getting longer and longer, I am going to just using a wide tooth comb more and more again. I'm like, and some people say this is more harsh, but it is kind of true though. Like the longer your hair gets, I feel like this is a little bit more gentle than this. Not that this isn't gentle, but some people would just go in after washing their hair and they would tug with this, and I don't do that. And I think that's where people get a lot of breakage and stuff. And then some people are like, but I can do that and have super thick hair. And I'm like, yeah, but how old are you? Are you like 25? Because the way you treat your hair when you're 25 is different than the way you treat your hair when you're 40, right? And I feel like if you're into healthy, natural aging, and this is just something I've been thinking about lately, do we want healthy practices throughout our life? Or do we just want to do what's easy? Because yeah, some people they want to brush out their hair in 5 minutes flat, but I don't do that. I just take my time. I always have. And I know some people are like, oh my god, that's too much time. But I think also too it's why my hair grew back so much. And why it's I've been able to maintain my thickness because one of my sisters, like her hair grows really long, just like mine. But she'd always say like, "Oh, I experienced a lot of hair loss." So I ask her every day. I'm like, "Do you blow dry your hair every day?" She's like, "Yes," and she washes her hair every single day. And her hair type may be slightly different than mine. I think it's a little bit more like my mom's. So my mom has a lot of hair, like a lot of hair, but it's like finer, right? But the thing about my mom is like she doesn't do those things, and she's 73, and her hair like it's not as thick as mine, but it's finer, but a lot of it. If that makes any sense, and she still has that. Like at her age, like I mean, of course she's 73, so but some of her hair is still like not great. I don't know. I just think like, and I know my grandpa actually, her dad had black hair like me, and he was in his 80s. It's like, oh, that's interesting, right? I don't know. I just think about these things like, are we into healthy hair practice? So maybe the comb, like long term, you're right. I do kind of think I see it over time. I just sometimes like to use the paddle brush to spread it out. But to be honest with you, I do think the really wide tooth comb is probably a little bit safer. But I'm not with the people that are anti silicone, anti sulfate because those two things just really, like on my second super long hair journey, or yeah, make detangling soap. And I started using the Garnier leave-in conditioner as a mistake, but last year I started getting serious about like, let's use amazimithicone for detangling. And it's really changed my hair game because I talked about my poor brush. I talked about this the other day on a video where I used a conditioner, and it didn't have any silicones in it. It's one of those cone-free ones. Yeah, it was a cheaper conditioner. Don't get me wrong, but I find that all the conditioners without the M at the end of the cone, because people are so, like, they think cones are so bad for your hair, but I don't follow the curly hair method. And at that time period, there was a time when I would say maybe like 15. When did it first come out? Like, I have wavy hair, by the way, but a lot of the ideas out of there, like the anti-silicone sulfate, are from that particular book. And I think it does help some people's hair, but a lot of people, even people with like curly, coily, wavy hair, have said over the years that a lot of the information in that book doesn't really help them. It might help some people, and if not using silicones and not using sulfates really, really help you grow your hair long, then you should do it. But I'm like, no. I like long hair retention grows without tangles. And when you have wavy hair, your hair loves to curl up into itself. And why am I going to fight against my hair? I'm not going to do that. Like, so for me, I do think wide tooth combs make it easier, but I'm not part of the camp of people that think you have to be silicone sulfate free. Sulfates are good for breaking up buildup on your scalp. So yeah, I and silicones are great for detangling. And I still put a little bit of oil in my hair, but I'll be honest with you, I don't have to put as much oil in it anymore. Like, I still put in some, but I kind of go lower end on it. Yeah, I just this is what I'm doing. This is what's working, and I use drugstore products. I don't use high end products. Like, I just don't need to, and I don't want to. Honestly, like, I don't, and it's not realistic for most people. Look, there's a lot of like Slavic Russian women. People always talk about this all the time. They have like long hair, thick hair, because in those cultures, having long hair is still a thing. Um, and a lot of them are always showing the drugstore products that they use. Same with like Indian women, Middle Eastern women. Like, a lot of people that have long hair, they're just using like run of the mill products, or they do some hair oiling. But the common denominator for me and for everybody that I see that has like long hair retention growth, following like natural, healthy, not hair extension. Because honestly, hair extensions are not healthy. They actually will thin out your regular hair. And almost some people think that they can only have long hair with long hair. No, it's about playing the long game. Are you playing the long game, or are you wanting just a short term result? In my whole life, like, I don't know, I try to think philosophically. Lately, I've been having these discussions. I know, like, some people are like, AI is horrible, but not always. Because sometimes, if you know how to use AI in a good sort of way, like, and you can ask it things, and you can be like, hey, does this make sense to you? And the thing I like about AI is that you still have to vet things on AI, because basically it's just like, the way I view it for research is it gives you a summary of what's on many different websites, and you still should go look and vet. In my opinion, that's what I would do. But sometimes, like, the more like developed you become with it, and the more in depth, and the more like you go into asking it more and more and more, like, I ask it these different questions, and it just gives me insight into things. And every part of my life is about playing the long game, because I just want to live the healthiest, happiest, most like sound life at this point in my life. Like, I will always play the long game. You know, it's important for me. Well, I mean, I still do. I'll be honest with you. Don't get me wrong. Like, I know some people will not. They don't want to dye their hair. Period. But I will do henna. Like, sometimes I do it just because I like the way it looks on my hair. But like, if my hair were really, really gray, I probably would do henna, because I just like the way the dark hair looks on me. And this is not anything against people wanting to go naturally gray, but I think you can actually naturally color your hair with henna. Like, and so I kind of have a slightly different take on it, because sometimes, like, okay, I understand, like, if people are like, hear me out. I have an interesting discussion about this. Something I've observed. have noticed on like social media, and this is not like for people in the long hair community that are just letting their hair go gray, which more power to you. If this makes you happy, this makes you feel good, people should definitely do that. Personally, just like I think this is my thought. I've seen a lot of people in the hairstyling community, they talk about, oh, I'm going gray, but they will intentionally, like, once their hair reaches a certain point that they're growing it out, like, they will use, like, different dyes on their hair to mix with the gray hair so it looks like the gray hair. And then they do some sort of low lights and they do this. So I'm like, that's still like doing things to your hair. So in my view, henna is natural and it's like a hair strengthening treatment and it can cover gray hair. So like to me, there's nothing wrong with doing henna. Plus historically, women in the Middle East and India, Egypt, like they, and even in Europe, because it made its way into Europe, used henna on their hair. And it was never like, oh my God, you can't use henna. Like, I don't understand. Like, I just love the benefits of henna personally. So I think you can actually, if you want to add like color to your hair, you can do it in a natural way. And I'm just more about like, even though I use sulfates and silicones on my hair, but that's just to help detangle it better. When it comes to like other things, like I'm like, yeah, some things I prefer more natural, like henna. That's just my preference. I'm not into chemical hair dyes and things like that. But then some people that are growing their hair super long, they do like to dye their hair, and they say that it makes, like, I don't know. Well, it depends on what kind of hair dye you're using too, because I know some people say demi permanent hair dye is not damaging. I think it could be long term. Honestly, my viewpoint, I think it can be, but I guess in the hairstyling realm, and I've been reading about this for a long time, they say it's less damaging than like the ammonia hair dyes that penetrate the hair shaft. But I personally just don't use those for period in the sentence, you know? Thank you. I, so yeah, those are just my. So like those are just my takes on it, you know? So yeah, I think people should have whatever color hair that they want to have, whatever makes them feel good. Like at the end of the day, I don't entirely agree with the people who say like, oh, like it's more natural to just go gray because yeah, long hair community people that go gray, like they're literally just maybe going gray. But a lot of people like in the hair stand, like they're actually going to hair salons and they might be growing out their gray hair, but they're doing like low lights, they're doing like types of shampoo to enhance their gray. But for me, like how is henna, which is a natural herb in nature, less than that? I don't know. I'm all about, let's navigate life by playing the long game and doing what makes us feel like the best version of ourselves for us, not based on what other people think are better for us. Because I will tell you at the end of the day, what makes you feel good inside, what makes you feel good on the outside, things that you want to do for yourself far outrank what anybody else thinks because it's your opinion that matters more than anybody else's, my viewpoint, because you're the one that lives your life. And yeah, but yeah, I do think it's beautiful. Like I do think gray can be beautiful on people that decide to go gray. I don't have anything against it or anything. I do think it's cool to explore like just being healthy and aging. And when I talk about natural, like I don't do Botox, I don't do filters, I don't do any of that. Like I just live my natural life. And I think my healthy lifestyle, because I follow what my mom does. Like my mom will always be my hero. Like just eat natural, healthy foods and strive to be stronger, faster, and better. Not to look like how other people want you to look. because that will never bring you happiness, and it's not real deal. Being real deal is better than being something, that's generated by others, in my view. So people should do what makes them feel good, in my view. And that's why I've always been drawn to long hair, because I just think long hair is the long game. It's a manifestation of the long game. Let's see how the chart is going. Oh, hi. Yeah, I do like to braid. And yeah, Carter, your hair is looking amazing. It's looking so good. But I know you're very careful with your hair as well. Yeah, I love to braid my hair. I just love braiding. It's like one of my favorite little things. Oh, no, 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 no. Look, oh, Mr. Nipple. Oop. Oh no, I don't have enough of the little baby hair ties. I feel like I need more baby hair ties. I like these little tiny hair ties for the ends. I've had them for like 5.5 years. Like they really lasted, by the way. Like if you buy a big package, I bought them at Walmart at the very beginning of the panini. Somebody called them the panini ones, and I'm like, that's so cute. That is so cute. I love cute things. I just want to live a tranquil, happy, cute life. Tell you want peace and happiness and tranquility. I know I want that in my heart. So much. Um, the only thing about these is like I feel like they don't cause breakage just because they're very gentle. I know people are like, oh, they cause breakage, but I mean, I don't know. I haven't experienced that from using these, but if you don't want to use these kind of hair ties, you could just not braid your hair as far down, and you can. I mean, but I honestly haven't experienced that. I think too. This is the difference. The amidimethicone, like it puts like a shield on your hair, and it's not plastic. It's a polymer. Like if you like, I started looking into the science behind this. Like the amidimethicone, it kind of creates like a barrier and a slip on your hair. So I feel like it just makes your hair feel really soft, and I like that because it's helping me grow my hair longer, right? I still use oils, but like I said, I use more amidimethicone sprays. Some people just use a little bit, but I use as much as I need and as much as I want because hey, it's $1.25. It's the dude for the Johnson and Johnson one, but this one is the Dollar Tree one. And there, I think there's like various brands. This one's made in Turkey. I just really like it. So for me, I haven't experienced that because I feel like if your hair has like that barrier on it, I don't feel like a hair tie is going to cause breakage, in my opinion. But for people that don't want to braid their hair to the end, you could not braid your hair to the end. You could do that. You can use smaller like scrunchies. And I do like to put a scrunchie in my hair at the end sometimes when I do this kind of braid, but I've noticed like scrunchies can slip out. And then it defeats the purpose of having like something at the end of my hair, I feel like. I don't know. I just have a lot of ideas about how I braid my hair, but seriously and truthfully, you should just whatever feels best for you guys, you should do for your hair. Like whatever works for you is what you should do, so to speak. The bad part's always like I have to try and do it by feel. I feel like because I'm trying to feel like where different hairs are and whatnot. I love my speaking voice. I got a compliment the other day. Somebody said that I have the most beautiful voice. I'm like, that is so nice. Like, I just love it. Like, when people just you up every day all the way with good spiritual intention. Like, kindness. if, like I said, if I know some people, like, I'm not getting down on scrunchies. I just find they slow down my hair. There are like smaller scrunchies. I'm just like, ugh. The difference being with those is like I feel like they're a little pricier because I've seen where you can buy them, but they're just not like highly available at the grocery store. You know what I mean? I don't know. But you know, in the old days, people used to just use oil and they did all these things, so it's doable. But I kind of just like to use modern technology to my benefit because I think modern detanglers are they make it easier, especially like if you have wavy hair, curly hair, to detangle your hair. And why do we want to struggle and possibly break off parts of our hair? You know what I mean? It just makes it. It's a tool, in my opinion. It's a tool like anything else. I love this part where the three braids are all together. It makes me super happy. And then I'm going to use this hair tie to bind them off, but I will braid them. All right, so here's your long braid. I love having my hair in a long braid. It's time to focus on things that make you happy, healthy, feel beautiful, and the best version of yourself, and to dispose of anything else.